Hi, I'm Curtis Sneden, President of the Greater Topeka Chamber of Commerce, with a quick update on some of the work we've been doing in the legislative arena. It has been a busy year, both at the federal and at the state level. From a federal point of view, we've been working hard to stay on top of developments related to the American Rescue Plan and the various COVID relief dollars that are coming to the state and to our part of Kansas to try to ensure that our businesses who need relief are able to get that relief. We've also been working with Congressman LaTurner's office with particular emphasis on the Polk Quincy Viaduct and the possibility of some federal Department of Transportation funding that may be available eventually to help offset some of the costs of that major highway project. At the state level, our chamber is part of a coalition that we call METAL, that stands for Manhattan, Emporia, Topeka, Lawrence. It's a coalition that represents business interests across northeast Kansas. And we began the session with just a handful of key priorities. One of those was that we pledged to work side by side with our legislative leaders to try to help lead through the recovery from the COVID pandemic. We also placed transportation as a high priority. The Polk Quincy Viaduct is a key project. It is in the design pipeline. We're paying close attention to make sure it keeps moving forward into that pipeline and enters into the construction pipeline and eventually becomes a reality that we can all be very proud of. We also place workforce development as a priority, and so we have encouraged our legislative leaders to collaborate with educational institutions across the spectrum to find creative ways to make sure that Kansans are ready to work and we are able to fill the jobs that we have. We also think it's important that the state of Kansas have a coherent strategic plan for growing our economy. So we've been supportive of the Department of Commerce's framework for growth, and we have supported a variety of pieces of legislation that are designed to facilitate that and also to preserve various of the state's incentive programs and make some of them a little more nimble. A key priority that we've had is the expansion of Medicaid, that we take advantage of the federal tax dollars that Kansans are already paying that could be coming back to Kansas to help offset the costs of ensuring that all Kansans have access to health care. Of late, a sub-issue has become very acutely important to us, and that has to do with the Kansas Department of Health and Environment and a laboratory that they've got here in Topeka down at Forbes Field currently, the future home of that laboratory. It needs to stay in Topeka. There has been some discussion in the legislature about potentially putting it out for bid so that other communities in Kansas might have an opportunity to have that laboratory located there. We have jumped in very aggressively and have worked closely with our legislative delegation to ensure that the administration and legislative leaders understand what a bad idea it is to pit Kansas communities against one another for assets like that. We need to keep those jobs here, and we're doing everything we can to make sure that lab stays in Topeka. That couples to some degree with another topic that has to do with the Capitol complex, and that's the fate of the docking state office building. It is currently mostly empty, and the administration and legislative leaders are trying to chart a way forward for what to do with that building. And we've got quite a bit to say, maybe not about the details, but about the outcomes. We've been very adamant with leadership that whatever they come up with, they need to be careful not to harm the investors here locally who have done a great deal of work and invested a lot of money to create first-class office space here in downtown that is currently being occupied by state agencies who are tenants there. So we've boiled it down to three key priorities on this topic that is specific to Topeka and downtown. Don't hurt our local investors. Do something to renovate the corner of 10th and Harrison. It is part of the Capitol complex and it needs to be restored to its place of pride. And keep that laboratory in Topeka. We're fighting hard on all of those fronts, and as the legislature comes back next week, May 3rd, we will continue to press that fight, and we are cautiously optimistic that we'll be able to achieve our ends. So I'll keep you posted on that. Thank you.